Roald Dahl's The Witches is the latest adaptation of the book of the same name. This one is a HBO Max original directed by Robert Zemeckis. This is a movie I was actually pretty excited for. I read the book as a kid, and the story stuck with me really ever since. Something about the way that Roald Dahl wrote this extremely twisted and dark kids novel about witches just latched into my brain for some reason. The first movie adaptation from 1990, while not great, did a pretty good job of bringing these terrifying witches to life. And before we get even farther, no, I do not condone or support Roald Dahl in any way. That guy's a piece of crap, but the story he wrote was really good. So, yeah. Anyways, however, it seemed like there was a lot to improve on from the original go-around, and the right people seem to be behind this remake. Robert Zemeckis, even with all the problems I have with him as a filmmaker, still knows how to make great movies. He's the guy who made the first two Back to the Future movies, Forrest Gump and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He seemed like the right fit for this kind of movie. Plus, Guillermo del Toro, of all people, helped write the script, so I was fully on board. However, I'm going to be completely blunt, this movie was not very good. It's not without its positives, but man did this thing disappoint. The main problem I have with this movie is the script, which isn't something I was expecting considering who worked on it. This thing makes the story feel so childish and weak. What makes the story so special is how far it went with the creep factor. The witches in the book are genuinely unsettling, and this movie just fails to capture that, mostly due to that horrible, horrible script. The story structure and dialogue are some of the worst in any kids movie I've seen as of late, with the dialogue being incredibly hammy, making the little boy character so unlikable. Once a major shift happens in his character about 1/3 through the way of the movie, it turns into an annoying catchphrase machine. And the pacing and the way the movie unfolds is so messy. No development of character relationships, the witches aren't set up well at all, the cast is way too crowded. The script is just truly bad, especially knowing who wrote it. The performances in this movie were also pretty subpar besides one person who I'll talk about later. Anne Hathaway was not the right choice whatsoever. She was hamming it up so much that it just got distracting. While I get this was supposed to be a somewhat silly character, there has to be some intimidation factor for her to work, and there just wasn't any at all. Complete waste of a performance. Something I don't normally touch on is visual effects. I just don't feel like it's relevant to a lot of movies I kind of talk about, but with this one, God, this is just atrocious. When watching this movie compared to the 1990 version, it looks terrible. The digital effects look like they were bought off iMovie, and the witches just don't look scary or gross at all. Just dumb. Especially when put up against the amazing practical effects in that first movie, it just seems like there was such a lack of effort. It truly seemed like this entire movie was completely rushed together, apart for two exceptions. Octavia Spencer was great. That's a given usually, but here she really stands out as being really good when compared to the crap that's around her. And the cinematography was actually really, 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 really good. The camera movement, the shots, they were all really creative and made the movie less unbearable. Visually, besides the practical effects, this movie is really good, and it's just wasted on a terrible story, annoying characters, bad performances, and just an all-around really unlikable movie. This thing was really disappointing, and just, ugh. The Witches gets a D+. Really don't like this movie. Very disappointing. Didn't like it. I will see you guys later.